Hello, welcome to Intersection Chats. I am Reme Mancera. I am a personal brand story strategist, and I'm here today with Heather. Welcome, Heather.
Hi, how are you?
Yeah, good. Please introduce yourself and what you do.
So my name is Heather Black, and I am a speaking strategist and event expert.
Nice. And today we are going to talk about the intersection from our experiences and how our work is somehow overlapping, how they interact. So please let's start. Like in your experience, how has been for you, like the intersection between personal brand story and public speaking?
Yeah, so they are completely intertwined. Your brand story is going to shape the kind of stages that you belong on. It's going to help us identify the audience you want to attract. It's going to help us identify the types of events you want to be at, and the types of speaking you want to do. Because speaking isn't just necessarily getting on a stage. There's podcasting, there's doing your videos, there's just multiple opportunities for speaking. So your brand story is going to help us figure out that strategy to do that. And once you're on the stage, your brand story is going to build trust. It's going to create credibility. It's going to attract the right people to you, which is going to help your business grow. So without the story, um, your speaking can just fall flat, right? Like people are not going to connect with it, and you're not going to have that same conversion that you want.
Hmm. Yeah, and my experience is something like whenever I am working with someone about their personal brand story and they have in mind that they want to go and do public speaking, it's like, okay, how you are going to articulate your stories in a way that is like highlighting, especially if you are a business owner and you are on stage, but you are really promoting your business and your offering. That's a different mindset that if you are just doing public speaking and that's like your business is that, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It is different, and it's really important because what people connect to is stories, right? That's what they really connect to. You can get up there and talk stats and have pretty slides and all of those things, but what people really want to hear is the story about you, who you've helped, how you've helped them, what that transformation was that happened on the other side. And so when you can articulate that in a way that people are leaning in. That's what I always tell my clients. You want to be looking for the audience to be leaning in, because when they're leaning in, they're connecting with you, they're connecting with your story and what you're saying. And that's what you want, because otherwise they're going to be over on their phone scrolling. They're going to be
Mm.
daydreaming about, what I'm having for lunch today, or, what am I cooking for dinner tonight, and all of those things. And that's not what we want. But a good story is going to make them lean in, and they're going to connect with you. It's just so important.
Mm, yeah, 100%. And it's like we have been there as attendees when they are sharing a lot of data and you are your brain goes somewhere else. It's like difficult to like get the attention for a long time if you are not engaging with some like emotions or lessons or a bit more like even if you share that data but you connect with something that is like more relatable and something that speaks a bit about who you are and what you do, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's very important to have, your data and your stats, but you have
Yes.
to work them into your story in a way that people can connect with that. And it all comes back to that connection and how they connect with you. And honestly, when you start building your messaging for your business, really think about long term how this is going to affect and impact, because what people really want is when you start understanding your audience and their pain points, you can start incorporating that into your story and how your brand can fix those pain points, right? What am I doing to serve my audience? So it's just really important. And a lot of times it comes back to your why, which is one of the first things I work with my clients is, what is your why? Right?
Yeah.
That why did you start your business? Why do you want to do this work? Who benefits from it? And all of those things compile, as you know, and I'm sure you work with your clients because you do the 10 different story connectors, right?
Yeah.
So I think, and I'm sure that they're why, and all of those things are one of those story connectors that you do, right? And why? Because that's what people connect with. And so
Yeah.
when you have those stories and you can tell them in a way that is compelling, it just creates more impact. And when you start speaking, suddenly you're making more impact because your story's going even farther, because those people leave that room and they go tell their friends, right? Oh my God, I
Mm.
heard this amazing story. Oh my God, you wouldn't believe what I learned today, right? And so that impact becomes a ripple effect that really can just reach way farther than you ever thought, just through your marketing, through just through your clients and referrals.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like even when you, because that's happened in business, you are like uncertain about something. It's like, okay, what is your why? Why you are doing this? It's like reminding even for yourself, why you want to start this business and working with this group of people and all that. And this is something that, yeah, certainly I work around their why, and I use like two different reasons that I call it like inner reasons, because you, there is like the internal reason why you do this work, and then the external reason because you want to do some good in the world, or you want to help a specific group of people. But then there are internal reasons of why you are doing that, and both of them are important to really understand and have the context of why you are doing that specific thing that you are doing, or offering that specific thing that you are offering, right?
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
yeah. So then also the idea of how, especially on stage, you can use your stories and the strategic storytelling to feel that connection with the audience, and they can see like you are someone trustworthy, you are relatable, they can resonate with the things that you are sharing, even if they haven't been specifically in a same situation. They can relate with the emotions, or because there are like some general things that we all connect to. And this is something that I love working with people from different places. So this is one of the things I have worked like one-on-one with more than people from more than 20 countries, and I love that because that give me the opportunity to learn from different cultures, different backgrounds. And again, there are some like general emotions that are there no matter what is your background, and this is a way of connecting. And you can see even when you read a book of someone that has a totally different life from yours, and you are connecting with them. So same with the story, especially on stage, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's really what you want, is you really want to show up authentically, being vulnerable and showing your real self, because when you start telling the story from that deep internal desire that you have to create a change, people will automatically connect to that. They're going to see that vulnerability, they're going to see that authenticity. And we all have those moments, right? Where we're just like, I don't know what I'm doing. Why am I even doing this? And so when we can show up in that place and connect with the audience on that level, whatever problem it is that you solve, and be like, I was once in that place where I didn't know how to do XYZ. And so I get how you might feel frustrated, or you might feel scared that you're not ever going to solve this problem. But yes, there is a solution, right? People are going to be like, oh, wow, they get it, right? We don't want to have to, we don't need to stand up there and be like, I have all the answers, I know everything, and I have never experienced difficulties in my life, right? Nobody connects with that. Your story is your journey, and your journey is what brought you to where you are. So when you start sharing that, people are going to connect with that and be like, oh my God, they totally get me. Like they understand where I'm sitting in this mess that I'm in, or in this situation that I have, and how do I get out of this situation. They've been there, they get it, they know, and they can help me. And so that's the connection you want to make. But you really have to be willing to be a little vulnerable, right? And to say, yeah, when I first started my business, I didn't have a clue what the heck I was doing. Or when I first started trying to lose weight, I didn't know exactly how this was going to work out. Whatever problem it is that you solve, when I started in accounting, I had no idea what a P&L was, right? like we got to be real about the journey that we've taken, because that is our story and that's what people connect with.
Yeah. Yeah. And also because it's like our journey is an evolution. And even where we are now is going to be different in 2 years. And that's part of the things that you are going to be telling, like different lessons that you get from the way. And it's about also like, okay, this idea of sharing your vulnerability. I know from my own experience that was something overwhelming me at the beginning, because I felt I don't have an epic story to share. I don't know how I will. listening to everyone telling me that, yeah, you should be vulnerable, you should share your story. And I was just like overwhelmed by this idea. And I remember those days. And then when I started working around personal brand strategy, specifically around storytelling, it was like, yeah, I know how it feels when you are overwhelmed by that. Let's, instead of looking for this one big story, split into 10 meaningful moments. And that's how I created this framework of story connector. What I want to share here is that you find your way to do the things, and there is not one size fits all formula. I'm sure for speaking is the same. And then you find the way that makes sense for you. You find your voice, something that is like aligned with who you are and what your values, and that will feel right. And it's also a practice, of course, but it's from a place that you are not just getting this cookie cutter formula, and it's just like adapting a framework, adapting something that makes your own, and then it's your voice, and you can stand when you are really believing what you are telling, because I'm sure you have had experience around that. Like, how is when you are sharing something that you are not really clear about, this the right thing that I am talking about, and how when you don't really believe in what you are telling, you can tell.
Right, 100%. Oh, totally. Your audience will pick up immediately if you have any doubts about what you're sharing. And I think it can be overwhelming, particularly for newer business owners, to figure out what their story is. I've been in rooms where, like workshops and that kind of thing, where you're writing out your brand story, and these people have these amazing transformations, that they went through, whatever. And I'm like, I just had God tell me I needed to start a business, right? Like, I don't know that I've been through any sort of traumatic experience that led me to this place. And so, how do I have that? They call it the hero journey. Well, I don't see myself as a hero. I'm just out here doing what I do. But that is heroic, right? Whatever your story is, it doesn't have to compare to somebody else's. Please don't compare it to somebody else's, because it's your story, and it is going to grow and change as you go through your journey. And that's what I coach my clients around. Same thing. I don't do cookie cutter, because every single client that comes to me is unique. Their goals are unique. Their business is unique. Where they want to go is unique. And so we build a strategy unique to them and where they want to get, where they are today,
Yeah.
right? And so one of the things I coach them on is, once we write out your why and your who, we look at that at least twice a year. Preferably, I ask them to look at it once a quarter, because your journey is going to shift and change, and you need to be going back and not just looking at it to see what's changed, but reminding yourself why you're doing this. Why are you getting on these stages, particularly when things aren't going the way you want them to go, right? When you're not getting the results that you were expecting, and you're like, oh, why am I even doing this? Like, why
Mm.
don't I just give up? This is when you go back to that why. This is when you look at your story and you remind yourself why it's so important. And every time you do that, that story becomes more powerful.
Mm. Yeah, and this is something that I also like to highlight to people, is how, even if it's not something like dramatic or heroic in a sense, it's something meaningful. It's
Yes.
a piece of your journey that explain who you are, why this is important to you, and it's meaningful for you, but also for your audience to understand who you are, to take an informed decision of, okay, yeah, I trust this person, I want to know more about the solutions that they are offering for me. And that is like a way to build this bridge between you and them, but this based on something that is meaningful to you. And that can look like something small from outside if you don't have the context, but when you have the context, it's like, okay, this makes a lot of sense. And even if I am not in that like situation, I can understand why this person has moved in that direction. And going back to the idea of the evolution, how when you are evolving and things are changing, but there is this common thread. I have a lot of times where I have working with people that they are somehow pivoting in their business. So they are looking for visibility in the new offering and so on. And it's like, no matter how big is the pivoting, there are common threads there. There are things that are important to you, no matter if you were doing something totally different, and how what is the new thing that you want to try. There is these common threads, and you can use that to bring like context and nuance of who you are. You can create unique examples also for the talks. I am sure when you are like using specific stories that are like past work experiences or things that are unique to your life, it gives you the opportunity to create an unique angle in your talk.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's one of those things like you need to be identifying what is the connection you want with your audience. What is that common thread between you and them, and what are the stories around that? And as your talks grow, as your speaking grows, as your brand grows, what happens is you get more and more of those stories, right? And so you can change them, and you evolve, it evolves, and all, but those common threads stay the same. That usually does not ever change, right? Because whatever our core being is that we're looking for, that very rarely ever changes. And so you can always be looking for those as you go about your day, as you're interacting with your clients, as you're working your business, as you're doing your speaking, and continue to grow and evolve and add more and more stories to your brand, to your speaking, and just continue to grow and evolve. And that's the beautiful thing. But when you start identifying what those common threads are, that's when you can really start making those connections.
Yeah, and something that I always invite people is to look at the like skills that people see as something valuable for them, and it's like, okay, how that is a skill that you have is valuable for your clients, but for you is something natural that even you overlook. And sometimes that's the case, right? It's like we are not so aware of things that are supernatural to us, so we don't value in the way that others do. And so that's why I ask them, go to your testimonials or the messages that you get from clients, and then see, okay, what is something that they are highlighting from you. And then you can go back and see, okay, in other moments of my life where I have been like having this skill naturally, and that has helped others. Because based on what you just said at the beginning, how we have been in their shoes, in the shoes of our audience, or also we have been helping others in with something that is natural to us. And because you do helping others like raise their voice and finding their voice, I'm sure that's something that has been there in different experiences of your life, or even when you were like younger. I am sure there are other moments where you help others to I don't know, is that the case? I am just throwing here something, and maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, no, you're not wrong. And it's kind of funny you said that because when I first started my business, I hadn't really identified. I just had one expectation of how I was going to help people, right? I was just going to help them manage the details of their speaking, help them plan events. And when I started working with people, what I really realized was that what they needed was a strong foundation of strategy, organization, and understanding the profitability of what they were doing. And I didn't realize that that have been what I like. I didn't look at what I had done for 20 years sitting in a meeting planner seat as being strategic planning and organizing events and planning budgets and looking at profits and losses and all of those things. But that was exactly what I was doing for those 20 plus years of sitting in that seat. And so when I created my signature process this year, those are the three pillars that I focused on because that's where my skill set is, right? But it's absolutely work that I was doing that I never consciously acknowledged as strategic planning. I mean, I knew I was organizing because I was planning events, but that profitability piece, I never looked at the strategy. I didn't recognize that that's what I was doing. But it's absolutely true. We have these skills because it's natural to us. It's just what we've been doing for so long. We're not calling it what it really is, but our clients are. And so looking at their testimonials, getting their feedback, asking them those questions will help you hone exactly what skill set it is that you're really providing, because it's really hard for us to look. We're in the jar, right? We can't see what's on the
Yeah.
label, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I love that expression. It's not so long ago that I learned that, like from inside of the jar. And I really appreciate that you are one of your pillars is profitability, because I feel that sometimes, especially maybe that's a belief that I have, but around public speaking, how there is like something that is like, yeah, you are talking and you are highlighting something, but how that is connected to your business, or to the way that you are connecting to new audience that then becomes your clients in a way. So that's that aspect I feel that is really important. And sometimes it's like in social media with these vanity metrics of followers, and then okay, you have a lot of followers, but that's helping your business or not. I feel that's really important, especially as a solopreneur or small business owner. What's your opinion on that?
Yeah, it's 100% important. And I think it's the thing that a lot of times, particularly when we come to talking about speaking, that we don't look at. Because we're like, yeah, I think it's growing my business, but I don't really know. Because a lot of times, particularly as business owners, we're doing free speaking, right? We're going in and educating, we're providing workshops, we're doing webinars, we're doing these things that are free, quote unquote, to the people who are attending, but it's not free to your business. And that's the thing people forget to look at, right?
Yeah.
And so it's really important to not just understand what your speaking is bringing in money wise, but how is it growing your business? Is it growing your email list? How long until those people become clients? Are you making sales from stage? Is that legitimately happening? And what is it costing your business in time and money? Because it's not free to you. And so when you start looking at those things, suddenly you might realize, well, I'm not really making any money doing this, which probably means you're not in the right rooms. You're not talking to the right people. And so we go back to that strategy and figure out where you really need to be, which goes back to that why and back to your brand story, right? And so, really and truly, the brand story, having that clear is honestly, that's that cornerstone piece of everything that you do in your business, your speaking, your events, how you do sales, all of it. Your brand story is that cornerstone that you have to have in place. It's so important.
I feel also that like when you know what is the goal, the intention of something, that's really important, because then you can decide, as you say, like this is not free for your business. You are investing time, you are investing energy to go there, to be there, ready for doing this talk and so on. So what is the reason why you are doing that public speaking opportunity? And then maybe it's about positioning. Okay, then I am investing this because I want to get position around certain. For example, when I started talking about my own framework, I was doing a lot of speaking around that because I want to get my framework position, because no one knew about that. So that was something that I was investing my energy and my time to do that, and time that I was not investing in doing other stuff with clients, or getting like direct money, right? But
Yep.
then it's like, okay, these is my decisions. I want to invest time in doing this because I know that long term is going to help and benefit my business. But then you are the one deciding and taking this decision based on your goals, based on your intentions. Sometimes can be, okay, I want to be in this stage because that's going to position myself, or like generate this authority. So it can be different levels, and sometimes it's about, okay, this audience is like overlapping my audience, I will get direct opportunities for working directly here. But sometimes it's about building the relationship with the host. So there are so many different like reasons why you are doing this. I feel that, connecting to what you say, like I feel it's so important to know why you are doing that, and then okay, I think it makes sense of not, and then you put in the balance and you decide, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And setting those goals and understanding your why. And one of the things I work with my client, it's not just about why, a general why. You need that. But we also want to look at every single event that they're looking at. What's the why? What are we looking to? What's the goal for this specific event? Because that's how we're going to craft our call to actions.
Yeah.
That's how we're going to craft tweak the story, if you will, to make sure that we're connecting with that audience. It's just so important to understand what the goals are for this audience, for this speaking event, for your business, for your speaking in general, what are the short term and the long term goals, because speaking is a long term strategy for your business. It's not something you're going to be do one and you're going to, make six figures and you're going to be done. Speaking is something you're going to consistently be doing for whatever works for you. And that's what, you don't have to be on a stage every week if that's not what feels good to you. If you don't want to be on a stage of 500 people, you don't have to be. We're going to set your goals based on who you are and what you want to be. If you're comfortable only on podcasts, then that's where we're going to focus our efforts, right?
Yeah.
If you just want to go live on LinkedIn once a week, that's what we're going to focus on. But you have to understand the why, you have to have the story, and you have to know what the outcome is that you're looking for, because otherwise we can't measure it.
Yeah, 100%. And this is something I feel like is really, really important. Like when you know what is the outcome that you want to get, then you can see if it's working or not, if you might give another opportunity or not. Again, you have the data to take the decision. It's not just based on, I have the feeling. You have actually, okay, I know that this is what I wanted. How I am getting closer or not. So I feel that's like really interesting also as a way to even like, yeah, have a data to decide, okay, this is the next step that I am going to do. I am going to double down here, or no, I will change my thing. And I feel that, as you say, podcast is the thing that I enjoy more. Maybe I am not going to do more public speaking in person because that's like more challenging to me, or
Right.
whatever it is.
Whatever it is, absolutely. But it's really important to understand what you want the outcome to be so you can measure it. Because if you can't measure it, just like you said, we don't know if we're being successful or not, so we can't pivot. We can't move and adjust. We'll just keep doing the same thing and expecting different results. And that is the definition of insanity. So, one of the things I really work with my clients on is making sure that we're clear on what the outcomes are and that we're tracking our metrics to make sure that we're receiving those outcomes, so that if not, we can be making adjustments to the strategy.
Yeah, I love that because it's like you are. It's like when you are with this mindset of iteration and then like taking note, tracking things, and then you can change things because it's like you have the information to decide. Like, okay, I can try something else. I keep tracking the metrics, and then I can decide. Okay, this movement has made something. Let's go in this direction or not. So I feel that's really important as well when you are like, and it's not about like having a success or having a failure. I like this approach of this is an experiment. We are trying things and then we are like getting the data to see if it's working or not. And also because we, this like, again, going back to this idea of evolution, we are going to evolve. So maybe the outcome that I want now is different from what I want later, but the data that I am getting now can be helpful for the decision that I make later as well.
Right. That's absolutely correct. And I tell people, my clients be like, "Well, I think I had a bad experience." Well, was it bad because you like didn't, you didn't deliver your message well, or was it bad? Well, I just didn't make the connections I wanted. So, no speaking engagement is a bad experience, right? It's all, like you said, it's an experiment. It is experience. It is a learning opportunity. And if you got there and you didn't make a single connection, let's look at why we decided you should be in that room and
Mm,
why it was not the right room, so that the next time we can make a better, more informed decision. But you had the experience, and you never know who might have heard you that later on will remember that, right? So it's
yeah.
all opportunity, it's all experimentation. There's, going to be some trial and error. The key is when you get really clear on your story and your why, and we get really, really strategic, we can collapse that timeline and we can reduce lots of trial and error, because you don't want to spend a year figuring out what stages you need to be on, right?
Yeah.
Let's do it in 90 days.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely, yes. So before we start wrapping up, there is some message or some insight that you would like to share that maybe we haven't covered.
Yeah, I think that the biggest impact of your brand story is that it's going to make your message memorable, and your audience, when they remember your story, because it's more than a sales pitch, they're going to connect with you. And it might take some time to cultivate them, right? Because people don't just necessarily buy right on the spot. So understanding what your audience's buying habits are is important. But speaking and knowing your brand story is going to differentiate you in a crowded market.
100%. And I would like to also mention my own experience around public speaking, because I use, and this back to the what are your goals of this public speaking. And for me, there was a time which was related to growth, like personal growth, because I have this memory of at the university, like having this presentation with other um, students, and then I was like, oh, I had my voice was shaking. I don't remember the words. I was having the worst time ever. And then after years having my own business now and so on, it's like, oh, I don't feel like I feel that I have grown. But then have just this memory around like public speaking. I want to create a new memory around that, and that was a goal that I had. And then I tried doing online spaces, and that gave me the opportunity to actually go in person, in real life scenario. And then I was talking to this 150 woman entrepreneurs, and for me that was huge. And I was like, okay, if I start talking and I am able to deliver the message, and it's not just me like shutting down, or I don't know, it was going to be a celebration already. So I remember just starting talking. It was two questions at the beginning. I was like, I need to breathe in the middle of those. I need to breathe. And then I breathe, and it's like, okay, my voice is kind of okay. I am able to, the people are looking, I am just focusing on them. And it felt really good creating this new memory now that I have around public speaking. And then that has opened different opportunities and different
Mhm.
things that I was not even like thinking about. I was focusing on this. Okay, I want to talk about this framework that I have. I want to share about this. I have like, I don't need to learn word by word, because that's something that I know by heart. And this helped me to realize, okay, yes, you can create new memories around something that is like challenging you, and at the same time you are opening doors and opportunities that maybe at the beginning you are not knowing. And connecting to what you say is something, it's like you are planting seeds, and then you don't know, sometimes it's like something that is super long term, and then maybe after 2 years something come back from that. And it's like, okay, maybe that was not in my bingo card, but it's coming from that opportunity that I said yes to. So I invite people to think about this as well, in the way, yes, be strategic, get help figuring out how to like reduce the trial and error, so you are investing like wisely your time and your business time. But also be open to say yes even to something that at the beginning can be a bit challenging, because that growth can give you like different opportunities that at the beginning maybe you are not thinking about.
Yeah, I sub 100% agree with everything you said. And it can be very nerve wracking for people to step in onto those stages, virtually are in real life. And so, people that are really scared about it, will get in front of a friendly audience, invite your friends over for dinner, and give your speech to them until you feel comfortable, right? Get their feedback. But at the end of the day, the thing you need to remember is the audience is rooting for you. They want you to be successful, they want to hear your story, they want to connect with you. They're not waiting. They're not really noticing if your voice sounds a little shaky, right? And if they notice that, they're probably like, "Oh, come on, you can do this. Don't be afraid. We're not going to bite," right? They really are rooting for you. So remember, they're on your side and they want to hear from you. Your message matters and they want to hear it. So they're just waiting for you to come and give it to them.
100%. And just one final thing, you can start, as you say, in an environment where you feel safe. It's a space where you know that the feedback that you will get is like, is a constructive feedback for people that they just want to help you.
Yep.
And then it's going to be a fair experience that can help you to move forward to different stages that can be maybe more like challenging to think about them.
Yeah, absolutely. Start where you feel comfortable, but be prepared to grow, because
Yeah.
saying yes to those opportunities that make you uncomfortable, that's where growth really happens. So,
Nice.
yeah, I encourage you. And 150 people, that's a big room for most people. So, congratulations. That's a big
Thank
deal.
you. Yeah, thank it was for me for sure. So thank you so much. Just a final question. How you will summarize the connection between personal brand story and public speaking in one or two or three words?
I would say story fueled strategy. That would be my phrase for you. You have your story and have that story fuel your strategy.
Love that. For me, I would say leveraging visibility because I
Mm,
feel that public speaking is a great way to get visibility strategically, and then when you join that with personal brand stories that going in a different level of strategy and helping your business and your own personal brand to grow.
yeah, absolutely. I agree with that.
Okay, so thank you so much. This has been really interesting to go through the connections and the points of contact between our topics. Thank you so much for joining and for sharing all your expertise and insights.
Oh, thank you for having me. I love conversations like this because they show the power when we combine strategy and story.
Nice. And for people that are watching us, thank you so much. Or if you are watching the replay, and then if you want to comment on something that we share, or you want to learn more about what we do and how we can help you, just go around. There is the links on the in the description, and also because maybe you are interested to go a bit deeper into the public speaking and how to do it in a strategic way, go and check out what the Heather has because she has also some workshops coming. So go and check out her profile or her website. Yeah, and in the meantime, just see you soon. If you have any question, just comment here or contact with us.